Hey there, it's Carly from Literacy with Carly. I want to share with you the 3 top things you need to be aware of if you are teaching letter sounds. First off, number 1, you need to be aware that letter sounds are either continuous or stopped and clipped. Number 2, you need to be aware that letter sounds are either voiced or unvoiced. And number 3, you need to be aware if you are adding that pesky schwa, the sound at the end of your letter sounds. Now, let's dig into each one of those a little bit deeper. Letter sounds can either be continuous or stop/clipped. Let's talk about the continuous sounds. Continuous sounds can be held and elongated until your breath runs out. Now, these sounds are super beneficial when teaching kids to blend sounds to read words because they can be elongated and they're easily blended to the next sound. I'm going to go through and model the letter sounds that are elongated in our alphabet. A, E, F, H, I, L, M, N, O, Q, R, U, S, V, W, X, Y, Z. All of those sounds I held a little bit longer so that you could see that they were continuous. Now, again, these are really important to model for your kids because you want them to hold that sound, especially when they start blending sounds to read words. Now, on the other hand, there are sounds that are stop or clipped sounds, which means they are quick and short. They cannot be held as long as your breath. The letter sounds I'm going to go through with you right now are the stop sounds, so watch how they are quick and short. B, K, D, G, J, K, P, T. Those are short and sweet. They're cut, they're clipped, they're stop sounds. Now again, those are going to be a little bit harder for students to blend with other sounds. So we like to start with continuous sounds at the beginning of our words when we're teaching blending, but that's a whole nother concept and another discussion to have at a later time. But remember, there's continuous sounds and there's stop sounds. Now on to number 2. Sounds can either be voiced or unvoiced. Now what that means is use of your vocal cords. If you put your hand on your vocal cords and you're just talking, you're going to feel a vibration. That means those vocal cords are working. You are using your voice. Some letters are voiced and some are not. So you can use this by having your kids put their hand on their vocal cords to tell whether a sound is voiced or not. I am going to show you the sounds first that are voiced, which means if they have their hand here, they are going to find vibration. A, D, B, E, G, I, J, O, M, N, A, Q, R, A, V, W, Y, Z. All of those required my vocal cords. Now, on the other hand, you're going to have sounds that are unvoiced, which means there is no movement of your vocal cords. Now, it's going to sound like a whisper. If they have their hands on their vocal cord and they whisper, then you cannot feel anything. So these sounds are actually just air, no vocal cords. So listen that they're going to sound like a whisper, and if you have your hand here, you're not going to feel a vibration. Ready? K, F, K, P, S, T, Ks. All of those were unvoiced sounds, so you did not hear anything. All it was a whisper in air coming out. Now, this characteristic kind of comes into play with number 3. Number 3 being, do not add that pesky schwa, the sound at the end of your letter sounds. Sometimes that happens with some of these unvoiced sounds, specifically like the k sound or the t sound, because they feel like there needs to be a voice with it. So they say k. When you say k, you're adding a voice to it. And you're adding the sound. If you try to blend the word cat by saying this letter makes the k sound, you're going to have ka-at, ka-at, ka-at. And it's going to make it difficult, especially for those who may be predispositioned to struggle with reading, to blend sounds together. So we want to make sure that these unvoiced sounds are said accurately as a whisper and with no sound. Now, another trick with that, not having students say the sound at the end. For example, B and D are the ones that you really hear it happening with, is having your hand under your chin, because when they make that sound, your chin drops. So when they're saying the sound, make them put their hand under their chin and tell them to not drop it. So instead of saying ba, they're going to say b, b. Same for the D sound. Instead of duh, they're going to say d, d. So they're going to try hard to keep their chin up and not drop it, and that will help them clip off that pesky schwa, the sound, which can make it difficult for students to blend sounds into words. So hopefully you have learned a little bit about what is important to know and teach your students when you are teaching letter sounds to help them be the most successful and master those letter sounds as quick as possible.